Luke Thomas recently discussed an interesting scenario that could shape the future of the lightweight and welterweight divisions. If Jack Della Maddalena were to beat Belal Muhammad, it could open the door for Islam Makhachev to move up to 170 pounds. In that case, we might see an interim title fight at lightweight, with Justin Gaethje stepping into battle against Ilia Topuria for the belt. Luke suggests that if this scenario plays out, Ilia could be positioned perfectly for a massive opportunity at lightweight, and his decision to move up would make sense in hindsight. Instead of being criticized for vacating his belt, he might be celebrated for seizing a bigger chance by moving to 155 pounds. If he wins the lightweight title, it would definitely justify his decision to vacate the featherweight strap, turning the whole narrative on its head. Most MMA fans now are hoping for Belal to defeat JDM so that Islam Makhachev stays at lightweight and fights Ilia, a matchup the whole MMA world is dying to witness. What do you think? Will we ever see this fight? What are your predictions? Leave your comments below.
Let's say Jack Della Maddalena goes in there and beats Belal Muhammad. Well, then it kind of opens up the door to Islam going up to 170. And if Islam goes to 170, they could do an interim title for, this is the scenario that was posited to me, Justin Gaethje for an interim title, or even the full lightweight title if they make Islam drop it against Ilia. Well, okay, if you're Ilia, did you need to fight Volk again if you're just going to get a 55 title fight against Gaethje, which I think I would favor Ilia to win that one? You know what I mean? So that's, if that happens, well then no, it was not much of a mistake, I suppose. And also the other part too is like, I don't get the vibe that Ilia, he says this and just the way he's acting, it's true. I don't get the vibe he's going to do this for very long, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'd be surprised if he's still fighting at 36. I'll put it that way.
Why? What is it about? What do you think? Is it just for the fact that he doesn't need the money? He's got, you know, like this is more of a...
Yeah, I mean, everything he's following the Conor McGregor path, just not with the crime and the awful behavior, you know, like...
Paul Felder and Michael Bisping dove into a potential clash between Leon Edwards and Jorge Masvidal, and both agreed. It makes a lot of sense. Felder pointed out the obvious spark, the history. The infamous three-piece and a soda moment still lingers in fans' minds. And for Leon, that could be exactly the kind of motivation he needs after losing the title. Masvidal, being primarily a striker who hasn't been very active, presents a winnable but still meaningful matchup for Edwards. Felder emphasized that it's not always about rankings. Sometimes it's about the fire a fight lights in you. And if getting sucker punched backstage by a guy doesn't ignite something, what will? Masvidal and Leon have been rumored to fight multiple times, and with both currently on losing streaks, this matchup feels more likely than ever. Bisping made the case. If Edwards wants to bounce back after tough losses to top contenders, what better way than to settle an old score? A win over Masvidal wouldn't just feel good, it could restore confidence and remind the world who Leon really is, especially against the guy who literally snuck him backstage years ago.
I think it makes sense for both guys. There's beef there, they hate each other. There was already a three-piece and a soda in the back in London years ago on when Darren Till fought Jorge. And Leon, he needs a fight that he can get motivated for. And if this guy that basically punched you in the face in the backstage area isn't that guy, and he's primarily a striker, somebody that's going to stand up with you who hasn't been active in a while. I know he's high up in the rankings, but I think this is a case where you put all that away and you just go and have a fight that gets you hyped up.
Agree with everything you said. I'm a fan of Masvidal. I'm an admirer. I love the attitude. I love everything he brings to the table. You know, even the three-piece in the soda, that's just who he is, you know, and it's been well documented over the years. I had some run-ins as well. He is that guy. He's not a fake. He's not, for want of a better description, a Colby Covington, like we were saying before, right? And I'm not trying to start shit with Colby.
In a tense and heated altercation, former two-division UFC champ Daniel Cormier came inches away from violence with a former heavyweight fighter that's now a wrestling coach, barely holding back as the tension reached a breaking point. In a recent edition of Good Guy Bad Guy, DC shared the details of the confrontation, explaining how things escalated. According to DC, the coach initially started being aggressive towards him, but he tried to ignore it at first. However, the situation kept escalating, and eventually DC couldn't take it anymore. He approached the coach and threatened to beat him up, making it clear that he wasn't backing down. DC opened up about the entire confrontation, revealing just how close things came to boiling over into a physical fight. Here's how it went.
It's happened to me quite a bit recently. I was at a tournament in Clovis. One of the other coaches goes into the wrestling room, sees the boys in there. He's mad. He throws him out. I go to him and I say, hey man, what happened? Dude starts, he got mad at me. He a big guy though, chill. This guy's gotta be 300 pounds. He wants to beat my
But you don't
butt.
know him. You don't know who this is.
I've never met this guy a day in my life. So then we're walking between the gyms. I'm walking one direction. He's coming in the other direction with the old coach. Comes up to me again and says, this dude keeps staring at me. Chill, at this point, I've lost it. And I was staring him down, chill.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
Were you?
I'm walking this
Were
way.
you?
Chill. It's almost impossible for us not to make eye contact. So we come together at the door. And this guy keeps staring at me. And finally, I'm done, chill. I've had enough. So I go up to him. And I said, everybody wants to be a tough guy until you got to do real tough guy stuff. So I go, you're only doing this because you know I cannot do to you what I want to do to you. I'm leaning in, I'm pissed. I go, I want to kick his butt. He goes, well, you're going to try. He said, you're going to try. He said, you're going to try to beat jail. I thought to myself, this guy has to be a police officer because the only way he would treat me this way is to know I can't put my hands on him.
Absolutely.
Zabit Magomedsharipov, once a top featherweight contender, has been called out for a potential UFC return. Zabit left fans wondering just how great he could have become after stringing together 6 consecutive wins over notable opponents like Jeremy Stephens and Calvin Kattar. However, his departure from the octagon has left a lot of questions unanswered, especially as time passes and new contenders emerge in the featherweight division. At 34 years old now, many fight fans still hold out hope that Zabit will return to showcase the talent that made him one of the most talked about prospects in the sport. While rumors of a comeback often circulate, his latest gym footage has reignited speculation. One fighter who's not shying away from welcoming him back is Kevin Vallejos. Whilst Magomedsharipov would likely go straight in against the top featherweights in the division in the event that he did make his return, Vallejos was happy to shoot his shot after kicking off his UFC career with his 11th win by knockout. Zabit was an absolute monster in the octagon. The guy's speed, precision, and creativity were on another level. His kicks were lightning fast, and they weren't just quick, they were devastating. Whether it was his spinning back kick, his head kicks, or his body kicks, Zabit could hit you from angles you'd never expect, leaving opponents struggling to react. The speed and fluidity in his striking were almost surreal, making him one of the most dangerous and unpredictable fighters in the division. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.